Good evening, I'm your host, and tonight we're unraveling a chilling true story that still haunts South Africa. The possession of Clara Germana Cele. In 1906, at St. Michael's Mission in Natal, a 16-year-old orphan girl became the center of one of the most terrifying cases of demonic possession ever recorded. What happened to Clara was so horrifying that it shook the mission to its core and left witnesses trembling. This is a tale of darkness, faith, and a battle against an unseen evil. Clara Germana Cele was born around 1890, an orphan of African descent, baptized as an infant and raised by the nuns at St. Michael's Mission. She was a quiet, devout Christian girl, known for her gentle nature. But in 1906, something changed. Clara confessed to her priest, Father Herner Erasmus, that she had made a pact with Satan. She never revealed why or what she hoped to gain, but the consequences were immediate and terrifying. Days after her confession, Clara began to act strangely. She tore at her clothes, spoke to invisible beings, and cried out in fear, begging for help. The nuns noticed her eyes grow cold, as if something else was looking through them. Soon, Clara's behavior turned violent. She displayed unnatural strength, overpowering nuns who tried to restrain her. One nun wrote that Clara's cries were unlike anything human. Describing them as a hellish choir of growls and screams, louder than lions or bulls. No animal could make such sounds. Clara began speaking languages she had never learned, Polish, German, French, and more, fluently, shocking those around her. She also showed clairvoyance, revealing the deepest secrets of strangers and nuns alike, things she couldn't possibly know. Her voice would shift, deep and guttural, mocking the mission's holy objects. Crucifixes and holy water burned her skin, sending her into fits of rage. The nuns were terrified. Doors shook with thunderous force at night, as if something was trying to break through. Clara's room became a place of dread, where the air felt heavy and wrong. Witnesses reported seeing her body contort in impossible ways, her limbs bending like a serpent's. The mission, once a place of peace, now felt like a battleground. The priests knew they were facing something beyond human understanding. Clara's pact had opened a door to something evil, and it was now inside her, defiling her body and soul. As her condition worsened, the church made a desperate decision. An exorcism was needed to save Clara from the demon's grip. As Clara's possession grew worse, St. Michael's Mission became a place of fear. The once kind girl was now a vessel for something malevolent. By September 1906, the church could wait no longer. Two priests, Father Herner Erasmus and Reverend Mansuetti, the mission's director, were chosen to perform an exorcism. What happened over those 2 days would haunt the 170 witnesses forever. On September 10th, the exorcism began in the mission's chapel. Clara was restrained, her body writhing as the priests recited prayers.
Omnis immunde spiritus, omnis satanica potestas, omnis incursia infernalis adversa.
Stop breathing!
The moment they opened the Bible, she lashed out, knocking the holy book from Father Erasmus's hands and grabbing his stole, trying to choke him with it. Her strength was unnatural, her movements frantic. Witnesses said her eyes glowed with hatred, and her voice roared in languages no one could identify. The air grew thick, and a foul smell filled the room, like decay and sulfur. Clara's body began to levitate, rising 5 feet into the air, sometimes vertically, sometimes horizontally, before crashing down when sprinkled with holy water. The crowd gasped, some fleeing in terror. One nun reported that Clara bit her during the ritual, leaving 2 puncture marks like a snake's fangs. Her body twisted, slithering across the floor, her limbs bending in ways that defied nature. The demon inside her taunted the priests, claiming to be Satan himself, summoned by Clara's pact. It mocked their prayers, laughing as the priests struggled to hold their ground. The exorcism lasted 2 grueling days, with the priests pausing only for brief rests. Clara's screams echoed through the mission, a sound so chilling it pierced the hearts of everyone present. The nuns prayed, clutching their rosaries, as the battle between good and evil raged on. By the 2nd day, the priests were exhausted, but they pressed on. They recited ancient rites, commanding the demon to leave. Clara's levitations grew more violent, her body thrashing in midair. Finally, as the priests chanted, a horrific growl erupted from her. And she rose one last time. A noxious stench filled the chapel, and Clara collapsed, weeping. The demon was gone. She was free. The witnesses, shaken, saw Clara return to her gentle self, though her eyes carried a new weight. But the mission's peace was fragile. Whispers of the demon's presence lingered, and Clara's story was far from over. After the exorcism, Clara seemed to recover. For months, she lived quietly at St. Michael's Mission, her gentle nature slowly returning. But in 1907, the nightmare returned. One night, a nun heard strange noises from Clara's room, low, guttural growls. When she entered, she saw Clara levitating again, her body hovering above the bed. The demon had come back, stronger than before. The mission was thrown into chaos. Clara's symptoms returned with a vengeance. She spoke in tongues, her voice switching between languages she'd never studied. Her clairvoyance grew sharper, exposing the sins of those around her with cruel precision. She hurled nuns across rooms, her strength unstoppable. Holy objects sent her into fits, her skin blistering at their touch. The mission's doors rattled at night, and the air felt heavy with dread. The nuns feared the demon was not just in Clara, but in the mission itself, feeding on the fear it had created. Father Erasmus returned to perform a second exorcism, this time lasting 10 harrowing days. The ritual was even more intense. Clara's body contorted, her screams louder, her levitations more violent. Witnesses said the demon mocked the priests, promising to never leave. But after days of relentless prayer, the priests prevailed. A foul smell marked the demon's departure, and Clara collapsed, exhausted but free. She lived quietly for 6 more years, carrying the weight of her ordeal. In 1912, at age 22, she died suddenly of heart failure, her body weakened by the possessions. Clara's story remains one of the most documented cases of possession. Over 170 people witnessed her levitations, her unnatural strength, and the terror she endured. St. Michael's Mission never fully recovered, its halls forever marked by those dark days. Locals still speak of Clara with hushed voices, believing the demon's shadow lingers in Natal. What drove her to make that pact? What did she seek from Satan? We may never know. But her story is a chilling reminder of the dangers of tampering with the unknown. Would you dare to face such darkness, knowing what it did to Clara? Thank you for joining me. Until next time, stay safe and stay away from the shadows.